Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, love it or hate it, good stuff is a strategy in Commander. I mean, I guess debated on if it is a strategy, but it's most definitely a theme for certain decks out there where I guess how I would explain it is, just go get some really fun cards that you really like or that are really powerful, that are quote-unquote good stuff. And just chuck them into a deck, and it'll all work out, right? Because powerful, good cards, they're just fun to play, right? So on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through my picks for the best good stuff commanders out there. Now, let's jump into the first example of a good stuff commander, potentially, or at least one that had been labeled as a good stuff commander. It is currently banned, and I do say currently because I do believe at some point with the change to Wizards taking over the actual format and their whole, game changers thing and how they're explaining what's banned, what's not banned, that kind of stuff, at some point, I do believe that Golos Tireless Pilgrim should be unbanned, I should say. I guess I don't know if it actually will be. I guess my gut says 51% it'll get unbanned at some point. But it is a card that initially was banned literally not because it's overpowered, but because the old rules committee didn't like good stuff commanders, I guess, in general. And because it's a 5-color good stuff commander, and their reasoning was like, well, everyone's playing this one, and they should be able to play other 5-color commanders. But then everyone just went to a different 5-color commander that we'll talk about here in a second. That being said, let's just talk about what this commander does, why why it's relevant really quick. 3/5, enters the battlefield. You may search life for a land card with a battlefield tap, then shuffle, or pay 7 mana in Wooburg, exile the top 3 cards of your library, play them this turn without paying their mana cost. Now, I personally built a pretty synergistic deck around this one. Not just, chuck all the good stuff in it. I also have another build that was over 100 cards, that you pick random cards out of it, which was more good stuffy. That being said, yes, this commander could just be a good stuff commander where you're like, okay, I have 5 colors. I've got all the cards I could ever want. I could pick my, favorite powerful cards, whatever, chuck them all in the deck and just put mana into that, and then hopefully hit some cool stuff off the top and play it. So that is basically the concept of a good stuff commander. This one is currently banned. That being said, you could probably ask your play group if you're like, hey, you okay if I play Golos? It's not banned because it's overpowered. It's really not. It is not. It's banned because the old rules committee doesn't like good stuff commanders in general. So there you go. 5-color good stuff, I should say, more so. Okay, now let's jump into the good stuff commanders that are not banned, that in my opinion are the best good stuff commanders out there. And first up, the King. Yeah, currently the King, one of the most popular commanders of all time now, and again, one that got a massive boost as soon as Golos was banned. Good stuff players flocked to this one, a 5/5 human noble for 5 mana in white, but it is a Wooburg commander, which I will not say is a prerequisite for a good stuff commander, but definitely helps you a bit when you're like, okay, all the powerful cards I want to play, I can do any of them because it's 5-color. Yeah, check that box. All right, pay a red. All creatures gain trample and haste till have turn. Pay 1 in a green, put a counter target creature. Pay 2 in a white, target player gains 5 life. Pay 3 in a blue, target player draws a card. Pay 4 in a black, put target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield under its owner's control. This is a toolbox commander that does absolutely everything. It also can be a very, very powerful, overpowered commander. I mean, basically, if you generate infinite mana, you just win, right? You're like, okay, cool, you draw your deck, you lose. So it is that as well, but if you're doing good stuff, you're probably not going in that direction. It is just a commander that, again, can help you out in so many circumstances. Again, if you get some big creatures in play, cool, all right, awesome, I just got this one into play. I'd like to swing with it right away. Awesome, I'll give my entire team trample and haste. Good for me. If I want to pump creatures, I can put mana into that. If I want to gain some life because I'm going low, great, do that too. If I want to draw some cards, I can do that. Or if I want to bring back my good stuff giant creatures out of my graveyard, I can do that as well. Obviously, it can be built in different ways, but yeah, good stuff is definitely one of them. And being, 5-color, check the box. Toolboxy can do a lot of things for you. Check that box as well. Kenny the Returned King, in my opinion, currently is the king of good stuff decks. Next up, though, another one of my picks for a 5-color good stuff commander is most definitely Jodah Archmage Eternal. One of my very first episodes on this channel, actually, was my Jodah deck. I love Jodah. Love you. 4/3 human wizard with flying for 4 mana in Jeskai, but it is a 5-color commander because it says you may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells you cast. I think Fist of Suns basically is the original card of this. We now have Jodah plus Fist of Suns plus the Ley Line that does this as well. That being said, having that on your commander means, oh, okay, I've got 5 colors, check, I can get whatever cards I want, again, the most powerful, awesome, cool cards, chuck them into the deck, and all of a sudden, as long as I ramp and fix my mana properly, I can go, oh, well, this card usually costs 10 mana, but Jodah says it costs 5, so pay 5 for it, and all of a sudden, cheat into play this massive giant thing that is just going to explode the board, basically. I mean, not explode the board, but just explode your potential of winning, being able to go like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, it's a giant Eldrazi or whatever it is, whatever your favorite giant things are that are big, powerful, good stuff cards, chuck them into the deck, chuck them into play with this. Jodah lets you do that multiple times in a turn and some really, really powerful things. So yeah, Jodah definitely can be built. Again, with all these, I'm not saying that they are just good stuff commanders, but they definitely can be built in a good stuff way. And I think a commander that really illustrates that point is actually Muldrotha the Gravetide. A commander that doesn't have to be built good stuff at all. Like, Muldrotha that can be pretty oppressive. I mean, like, Spore Frog, Spore Frog, Spore Frog. Who doesn't love Spore Frog? I mean, I actually love Spore Frog. That being said, it doesn't have to be a 5-color commander either. It doesn't have to be one that, again, is specifically positioned for good stuff, I would say. A 6/6 elemental avatar for 6 mana in Sultai. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard. So yeah, again, this is one where, yes, you can build the deck incredibly synergistically, where you have like a swath of different kinds of permanent spells in your graveyard, maybe some ways to tutor things in your graveyard, maybe some ways to mass mill yourself, maybe some, again, recurrable things like Spore Frog. You're like, okay, I'm going to play, I sacrifice it when I need to. Cool, awesome, great, good for me. Or, again, you could just build it like, okay, this is a commander that basically lets me get my good stuff cards back again, as long as they are permanent. So all of a sudden, I'm just playing like permanents, good stuff, chuck a bunch of great artifacts, enchantments, creatures, battles, I guess, too, into the deck, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, awesome. And Planeswalkers as well. Being able to just utilize them again and again and again for a commander that is a lot of value, a very value-centric commander for you, and a good threat itself. Yeah, this could definitely be a build for Muldrotha. Next up, in a somewhat similar way to that, again, adding one more color to our pie. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a 5-color commander for good stuff. I would say that most good stuff commanders, typically when it comes to building a deck, you usually are building them around 5-color, but if you're willing to let go of red, which, no offense, red, but I think when it comes to, like, the color pie, and, like, if you see, like, a 5-color deck, typically the least used color in that color pie is usually red, because it does a lot of things, but just usually slightly worse than other colors. So, yeah, I would say that it's okay to lose red, right, Atraxa? Okay, red players out there are like yelling right now. It's okay. All right, 7/7 Phyrexian Angel for 7 mana in every color but red. Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. So again, this is already kind of like a good stuff card where it's like, oh, big, awesome, cool thing that does a massive ETB? Yeah, fun for me. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards in your hand. Put the rest of them on your library in a random order. Again, artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, sorcery are card types. So this is one where it can give you a ton of extra value, an absurd amount of extra value, essentially. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It came into play and I got like, oh yeah, like 6 cards into my hand off of that. It is a massive way to reset your hand, to just like go crazy with card advantage, essentially. And of course, it is very easily usable and abusable with like blink effects, etc., etc. And you can build it like very efficiently, very synergistically, where you are using and abusing, again, those ETBs again and again and again. That being said, again, you could just build 4-color good stuff around this one where you have, okay, I play a lot of big things. Oh, no, my hand's out. Okay, I play this. I hit a bunch of giant things off the top of my library. They go into my hand, and I also have a giant threat to play with this as well, and all of a sudden I can play those things too. So again, in a way, it can definitely be a very synergistic commander. I'm not saying good stuff isn't synergistic, but typically the focus is not, oh, okay, build the best deck around this commander possible. It's like, no, build big, splashy, fun cards that I want to play that are powerful, chuck them into the deck, and all of a sudden it can be a very good strategy that actually can be pretty impactful just by utilizing this commander as a threat as well as a hand replacement, essentially. Yeah, it can be quite effective. Moving on, back to 5-color, but not on this side, but still 5-color commander. We got Esika, God of the Tree. Yeah, we'll go through the first side really quick. 1 for Vigilance, tap 1 mana color, make sure legendary creatures tap 1 mana color. Not too many people build around the front side. There are some. Eddie out there. Eddie, I know. Okay, well, maybe another Eddie out there, but my Eddie basically does that. That being said, on the back side, this is typically what players that are looking to build good stuff around this build, and that is the Prismatic Bridge. 5 mana Wooburg legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library to reveal a creature or planeswalker card. With that card on the battlefield, with the rest of your library in random order. Again, this is just, okay, good stuff. Perhaps a very specific focus on good stuff creatures, but you can also have other things in the deck as well outside of creatures. This, though, is guaranteed to just, oh, okay, I've only had, like, big, powerful creatures in the deck. Cool. Every single one of my upkeeps, I'm going to be hitting a giant, big, powerful creature. Or I should say planeswalkers. Well, you can build in that direction, too. But yeah, being able to be like, okay, I am guaranteed to just hit a massive creature off the top. On top of my other massive good stuff cards is another direction to go where this is just constant value for you. Of course, again, there are different ways to build this, but yeah, one of them is most definitely good stuff. Another one is a little more degenerate, like, you know, I like to build it like a Deep Glow Skate deck. We're like, okay, the entire deck is built around Deep Glow Skate or Ink Trader Nephilim. Don't do that. It's, I mean, it's incredibly powerful, and you'll just win right away when that happens, but yeah, I learned that I don't play that deck anymore. That being said, good stuff with this can definitely work. Moving on, another 5-color toolbox commander, Garth One-Eye, a 5/5 human wizard for 5 mana in Wooburg. Tap, choose a card name that has been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. I always feel bad for Shivan Dragon. Create a copy of that card of the chosen name. You may cast the copy. Yeah, okay, so no offense to Shivan Dragon, but again, why didn't they put Lightning Bolt on there? I mean, because they probably didn't want to give it like an extra way to just get rid of things, but Shivan Dragon, really? Like, no one ever uses that. And there's going to be a player out there like, I use Shivan Dragon with my Garth all the time. And it's like, okay, yes, sometimes. I think I've used it maybe once. Okay, and I have a Garth deck I've had for a long time. So, Garth is a very, very good toolboxy commander. Again, it helps you out with so many things. It can help you out with, well, temporary ramp by making that Black Lotus. It can help you out with, well, a massive card draw effect with Brain Geyser. It can help you out with removal with Disenchant and Disenchant Shivan Dragon. Disenchant and Terror. It can help you out with getting things back with Regrowth. It can also help you with Shivan Dragoning. There you go. Making a dragon. Cool. But more importantly, again, it handles a lot of things for you. And again, it gives you access to all 5 colors. And by doing that, you can, again, include whatever good stuff cards you want in the deck. And again, Garth handles certain things for you that you don't have to include as many, again, of those other aspects. You still should include other aspects in the deck that help handle, again, removal, card draw, etc., etc. But still, again, Garth can check some of those boxes for you, and you can focus more on the good stuff cards, which also many good stuff cards also have, you know, removal, card draw, that kind of stuff too. But yeah, it gives you an option, an avenue to utilize it in a great way. Moving on, another 5-color commander that helps us out with some other things as well. Omnath, Locus of All. 4/4 Phyrexian Elemental Evil Omnath for 5 mana in Wooburg, but the black is Phyrexian black. That being said, if you lose unspent mana, the mana becomes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. Maybe that card if it's got 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana, any combinations of its colors, put in your hand. If you don't reveal it, put in your hand. Here's the thing. All right, yes, you can build a very synergistic deck built around this. You're like, okay, I have so many things in the deck. I've got to check these boxes of having so many things that have 3 pips or more, essentially. Yeah, sure. Okay, I got that. Awesome. Good for me. You definitely can, but if you don't, it's still a great commander. It is a commander that literally can cost as little as just 4 mana and 2 life. Great, good for you. It is a mana bank for you where, again, you don't lose that unspent mana, kind of like Crewfix, but it becomes black instead. So great, cool. It might not fix your mana. Maybe it does if you got black cards too, but sure, it can actually just hold your mana for you. And on top of that, again, even if you do, quote unquote, whiff by, you know, oh, the top card in my library isn't, you know, 3 pips or more, essentially. Oh, darn. You still get the card. It's still repeat card advantage for you. So this is a commander that, again, helps you out with mana. It helps you out with the card advantage, and sometimes even more mana, essentially. It's a commander that, again, handles a lot of things for you. It is 5-color, and it is, well, again, a good option for good stuff when you're like, okay, yeah, I've got some big spells, I've got some big things I want to utilize. Omnath can help me with those, storing up mana, maybe even giving me mana sometimes, and digging me deeper into my deck to get to more of my good stuff cards. Definitely a great option for good stuff. Next up, yet another option for good stuff in a different way. Let's go back down to a 3-color commander. On this episode, I will say that I'm not going to be highlighting any 2 or 1-color commanders. You can definitely build like good stuff around those, obviously, but I think when it comes to good stuff in general, it just in my mind, like 5 obviously is the, you know, perfect amount of colors because you can use all the things you want to use. 4, it's like, okay, nearly. And 3, it's like, okay, that's where the cutoff is to me, typically, where it's like, all right, I can get access to a lot of things out there still. Maelstrom Wanderer is a 7/5 elemental for 8 mana. In Teamer, creature control of haste, cascade, cascade. So again, when you cast that card, you exile the top of your library, so you hit things that are smaller than that, essentially. But yeah, with this one, you can do that twice. You get to cast those for free. So, yeah, I mean, this one is just a great commander for good stuff because you can include a bunch of big, awesome, powerful spells in the deck, a bunch of good stuff cards, chuck them into the deck, utilize them, and then essentially like, oh, okay, cool, all right, I'm at 8 mana now. Yeah, you know what? Let's just spin the wheel. Let's just kind of like Golos-ish, essentially. But yeah, let's just spin the wheel. Let's actually just cast my commander and hopefully hit some big things off the top. And you're bound to hit some big things off the top with this. And yeah, sure, this will get dealt with. And you're like, okay, well, awesome. I'm in green, so I probably ramp to the point where I can cast this again and maybe again. So all of a sudden you're just like, okay, I'm just randomly spinning the wheel, getting a lot of value off of this, and again, already just casting big monstrous things so I can take over the game. So definitely a commander can be built in a really fun, good stuff strategy. Moving on, Yidris, Maelstrom, Wielder, somewhat in a similar way to the last one, though I still want to highlight it, though, because you can definitely build in a really fun, good stuff strategy. 5/4 Ogre Wizard, trample for 4 mana, every color but white. When it deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. So again, taking advantage of Cascade, but in a different way. Typically with this one, you can get through on an opponent, especially if you've got some like massive pump effects. Like if you have like, good stuff cards, you're like, okay, yeah, massive Anthem for my entire team, or, massive enchantment that gives double strike or essentially like that, essentially. So you can actually get through and hit. Being able to essentially do so, you're like, okay, cool. All right, I'm not dependent on my commander to do something, but it can actually be pretty beneficial when I do something with it. Being able to then just cast massive spells, which then cascade into other massive spells. You can do a lot with that. And of course, unlike Maelstrom, Wanderer, the Maelstrom Wielder, you get 1 extra color as well. So there you go. So if you're literally looking for, a 4-color, commander to consider for this one might be a good choice for you for a good stuff strategy. And finally, though, considering a 4-color good stuff commander, Aragorn, the Uniter, is definitely a good option for you. Yes, Aragorn can definitely be built like in a very, again, specific strategy. You're like, okay, I really want to hyper-focus, kind of like Omnath, where I'm like, okay, I need the right combination of cards that have the right combination of different pips for them to get the most out of this. Or you can just be like, all right, I'm just casting a bunch of things and I get free extra value. Cool. All right, 5/5 Human Noble for 4 mana, every color but black. Whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 soldier. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. When you cast a red spell, just lightning bolt something, or some opponent's face, I should say. When you cast a green spell, pump something, +4/+4 until end of turn. So this is a commander that, again, does everything for you, essentially. Again, it's not, I wouldn't say, like a toolboxy commander, kind of like, Garth, essentially, but it is more so like a, extra value commander. Like, oh, you want fries with that? Basically, okay, cool, yeah, you get extra on top of it just for free. I mean, I guess you don't get fries. You get, like, fries, I guess, sometimes, with a meal, right? There you go. But yeah, being able to essentially just, okay, all right, I got a bunch of good stuff cards in my deck. Sure, you have some multicolored ones in there, but maybe you don't hyper-focus on that necessarily. You're not going to, cut a card because it's not multicolored, maybe for a good stuff strategy. Like, okay, I'm just going to play my giant, awesome cards, and all of a sudden, I just get extra free value. Oh, okay, cool, this one's blue. All right, I get to scry 2. Okay, oh, this one's red and green. I get to pump something, and I also get to lightning bolt someone in the face. What fun is that? So yeah, being able to just, again, include nearly every single kind of card in Magic, again, everything but black, and then being able to just get extra free value on top of your cast, it can definitely be a good stuff commander to consider as well. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.